Welcome back to Beyond the Lesson Plans. We're live today. We are rolling. So we decided we'd do another like a live unscripted episode for another visit to this swamp of sadness.
Good old Reddit. So do you want to read it?
No, I'm going to let you read it.
Okay. So the heading is, I'm extremely suspicious of anyone who opts to homeschool their kids. I really don't think there are many legitimate reasons to do it. So I have seen studies. This is what they continue on. I've seen studies suggesting that homeschooled kids perform better in certain academic fields when compared to non-homeschooled kids. What I haven't seen is a study that indexes this to income or two-parent households. Both of those have profound impacts on the likelihood of academic success, and most homeschooling situations require either a very comfortable income, a two-parent household, or both. I'm highly doubtful that your very average homeschool child is performing significantly better than if they were in regular school with their parents who took an active interest in their education. Meanwhile, I have serious trouble grappling with the impact that this level of isolation and enmeshment might have. I can't help but feel, based on the homeschooling situations I've seen, that it leaves kids less fulfilled or socially mature. The majority of homeschooling I've seen has been for religious reasons. Now, I attended 13 years of faith-based education. I'm not entirely against integrating religious instruction into education on principle, provided it doesn't impede on a child's understanding of basic facts. I mostly is in italics, but given its long history and integration with many education systems, I'm more comfortable. However, I find it especially suspicious when your faith leads to that degree of isolation and inordinate levels of control over your child. Maybe I'm way off, and there are reasons for homeschooling I haven't even considered. But whenever I hear of homeschooling situation, I'm immediately suspicious. It seems like a fundamentally selfish, paranoid, isolating act.
So I'd like to go back up to the first paragraph where she talks about it either requires a very comfortable income, a two-parent household, or both. I would argue, and I would say that most of the homeschoolers, I would say that most of the homeschooling community, we are not very comfortable. I don't.
Listen, we thrive in being uncomfortable.
We do not have like this excessive amount of free available income. We are all living very, very modest little lives. We're all on budgets. I mean, of course, there are, your YouTube families who are traveling and they're making a living off of, broadcasting that and being influencers for that. But for the most part, we are all on a very, very, very strict budget.
Yes.
So that's misconception number one.
I would say statistically, most people are getting by.
Yeah.
Little by little.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's two-parent households. I would say most of the families that we know are, but we do know some very successful homeschoolers that are single income or single family, single mom, single dad. Maybe somebody passed away, maybe grandma's homeschooling. It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
No.
But yeah, financially, I wouldn't say that most homeschoolers are rolling in dough and just being able to pick whatever curriculum they want. How often do you see online, I'm looking for a free resource.
Right.
I need something free for this. And so there blessings to those who put out the free curriculums or document them so people can find them, because there are a lot of them that are not.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people I know that are not comfortable, like you said.
Yeah, no, not at all.
They're paycheck to paycheck, sometimes short.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is. I think that that's not just homeschoolers, though. I think the economy right now with food prices, gas prices, housing prices, interest rates. I think that in general is everybody's struggling at this point.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next is I highly doubtful that your average homeschool child is performing significantly better than if it were in a regular school.
Well, the thing that stands out to me in that little paragraph is an active interest in their education. I mean, we have a very active interest in our children's education.
We are the education.
Right.
But the proof there's tons of things that, here's one right now, 15 to 25% points higher on standardized academic tests as homeschoolers. So you don't have to go very far to find the research that says homeschoolers are performing better. Meanwhile, I have serious trouble grappling with the impact that this level of isolation. I know so many families that I need to stop doing home team because I have too many other commitments.
Yeah.
There's so many other things to do.
And I think about the people in Alaska who they're isolated. They're really isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Are people like calling out, people shouldn't be living in Alaska. They're isolated. Do you know what I'm saying? It's weird.
Well, we were just Bob had a work trip. We had to go to an island here in Michigan. And I got to talking to one of the guys and they have, I think they said they have 6 students in K through 8.
That's so isolating. How are they allowed to live on that island?
Right. And they send their kids to go live with teachers and stuff on the main peninsula for winter so that they can go to high school, because the school on the island is only K through 8.
Oh, it's so weird.
So how is that better to be removing them from their parental influence for the entire, winter?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting because you could say the same. Like you said, you always say that. You could say the same about a public school.
Yeah.
This person, one of the comments, I'm not the biggest fan of homeschooling myself, but I've known families driven to it out of desperation. Maybe their kids were suicidal, with toxic friend groups worsening the problem, bullying to the extent it leads to suicide attempts, special needs kids woefully underserved by a struggling school district. As a public high school teacher myself, I certainly believe it has at least more likely than not that those kids are missing out on awesome educational experiences that they really aren't getting an adequate substitution for at home. But at least they are physically safe and are having basic needs met, which isn't always the case in public school.
Mm-mm.
So this comment's actually kind of funny because she's talking about how the kids are missing out that are suicidal and bullied to feel suicidal.
Yeah.
But they're going to miss out and they're not getting an adequate substitution at home. At least they're alive.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't understand why. I don't understand how parents can keep their kids in school when they're being bullied. I don't understand. And we're talking about children who commit suicide. It's so bad. Why are you leaving them in that situation? Why is that okay? I don't know. One of the other things here that I thought was great is she says, let's see if I can find it. She's worried about a child's understanding of basic facts. I love that because I remember when we were putting the kids into one of the public schools, they were basically arguing like, oh, if the child can tell us how they got 1 + 1 = 4 and they can explain it, then it's right. How is that a fact? Are those the facts that you're worried about my kids not knowing? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
1
+ 1 = 4.
You haven't heard that? No. It was very weird.
One other comment. I will also add that I'm surprised this hasn't been brought up. Public schools do not have a great success rate. The style of schooling is out of step with the best way kids learn. 30 kids sit in a room with one teacher. The hands-off way public schools tend to approach learning. There are many better ways for kids to learn and their own pace, often more rigorous than public. hands-on with lots of movement involved that are just plain old fun. I've considered homeschooling my child to give them a better, more rigorous, and enjoyable educational experience. Whenever I hear someone complain about homeschooling, I think they must have had excellent and very unique public school experience or not be able to think outside the box, because public school can be boring as heck and suck the love of learning right out of kids.
It really does. Absolutely. Did she talk about inordinate levels of control in the home?
Oh my goodness.
So let's talk about some inordinate levels of control. Not in the home, but in the public school. You ready? I made a little list.
Oh, good for you. Okay.
Restroom use.
Oh, you can only use that between classes or if you raise your hand.
Yeah. How about restricting access to water? I didn't get a water bottle when I was in school.
No.
We weren't allowed to go to the drinking fountain.
And you got the little, when you did go to the drinking fountain, all 30 of you went to the drinking fountain, and it was 1, 2, 3, that's enough for you, or whatever the little saying is, and you were done.
Yeah. What about punishment for standing, stretching, and moving? We don't do that as homeschoolers. If the kids need to bounce on the trampoline and yell out their math facts, they're allowed to do that.
Right.
Required silence for long periods of time.
Put your head down.
Yeah.
And wait until everybody's quiet.
Yeah. How about expressing different opinions than your teacher, or even challenging a teacher? Like an example might be you come from a creation idea mindset instead of evolution. And if you start asking the teacher questions, you're not allowed to. I remember
movies made on that. God's not dead. That's the whole premise of the movie. Is
when we were, Anthony was in second grade, I got a phone call from the teacher, and she was so upset. I don't know if it was a Michigan test. I don't know why it was such a big deal to her, but she was like, I just don't understand why Anthony will not answer these questions. It was about dinosaurs. And the question was something about how old are dinosaurs? 2 to 3 million years old. And he wouldn't, the correct option for him, 2 to 3,000 years or whatever, it wasn't on there. So he wasn't going to answer it. And she was just so mad. And I had to explain, we believe in creation. We don't believe that the world is, 1 billion years old. So he just doesn't see why he should have to answer a question. I forgot about that until just now. That's crazy. It was crazy. I just don't understand why he won't answer the question.
Because there's not the right answer on
the test. Yeah. Okay. So we can't express our different opinions. Common Core, that was the only way to do math. We can't show the kids other options, other ways to solve the problem. I think Common Core is great because only in the respect that it is a different way to do a math problem, but that can't be the only way to do the math problem. And that's where the problem is with Common Core.
Right.
Taking away recesses if the kids are bad, or there's not enough time to do recesses.
Mm-hmm.
Dress codes and uniforms could be a lot of control. People could look at that as too controlling.
Oh, yes. I don't get to choose what I'm going to wear.
Mm-hmm. That also goes for your learning materials too. The kids don't have a choice in what they're learning, how they're learning, the learning style that works best for them, or the subject matters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of control that the public school system has. So I would argue that the public school
is more controlling than homeschool.
Yep.
Well, and all you hear, all the time when we're talking amongst our home team families is, how out of control their houses are, not how controlled their houses are. They're having a good old time, but they are not in control. There are so many comments on this that they actually shut them off. Here's a comment. I think there's a misunderstanding of what homeschooling, which is in quotes, actually is. It's not just one kid stuck alone in his living room with his mom teaching him 8 hours a day. I had a few friends who were homeschooled growing up, and they were always part of homeschooling groups or collectives. They had group classes that were taught by different parents or outside instructors, took field trips, did volunteer work, played sports, etc. It was by all accounts a very normal school experience, other than it was a little more informal and community run. And honestly, in school districts where the public schools are awful and the private schools are either absurdly expensive or very religious or both, it might be the best educational option. I'm sure you could find some examples of creepy psycho-style parents locking their kids away or only teaching them God will smite them if they don't learn multiplication, but it's certainly not the norm.
Mm-mm.
Then this comment is the problem with those homeschooling groups. In my experience, is they are full of a bunch of socially male-adapted kids that hang out together and reinforce their socially inept behaviors.
What?
Because you don't have that. Okay, so you might have the nerds in homeschooling, in a homeschool, or the gamers, or the skaters, but you have those same dynamics in public school. So to call that out is funny because you do have your gamers in the homeschool
Mhm.
world, but you have your gamers in the public school.
Mhm.
So it's very similar.
Mhm.
I don't see where that's something to be called out for.
That's a human thing. That's not a
Yeah.
school thing.
Yeah, you divide up amongst your interests.
Yeah.
Midway through high school, I started homeschooling. My mom put me in one of those groups to allow for social interaction. It was called the Homeschooling Honor Society, and it was a Christian-based homeschool group. There was only one other person in the entire group that was socially well adapted. She homeschooled because she was an Olympic caliber gymnast and her training schedule did not allow for traditional school hours. Both of us had a less religious upbringing from the other kids in the group, and I think that was a major factor in our social intelligence.
Oh, so religion plays a role in your social intelligence?
There is a certain amount of testing the waters that we all must go through during adolescence that shapes us into the adults we will become. Being away from the watchful eye of your parents/elders is critical for development. The problem with homeschooling, specifically when it's in a religious context, is that kids are perpetually immersed in their culture, which typically is regressive and oppressive. These kids never get the opportunity to behave outside of their familial expectations and decide for themselves who they want to be. If those same kids went to public school and had exposure to people from more walks of life, they could have a more well-rounded worldview, develop more empathy, and possibly live a more enriched life. Of course, the parents that subject their children to religious indoctrination know this.
I kind of disagree with that because I feel like the whole time you're in school, they keep saying, go to college so you can figure out who you are, so you can figure out who you're going to be, who you want to be, what you are. Well, so they didn't have that opportunity in school. That's why they were pushing them into college.
Right?
I don't know.
Explore yourself.
Yeah.
Find out who you are. Yeah. It's precisely when they homeschool, it is precisely why they only allow their kids to interact with other hive-minded families. It is precisely why
hive-minded? That's the public school. What are you talking about?
It is precisely why homeschooling leads to socially male-adapted people and why even if they test well in school, they don't do well in life.
Okay, maybe call me ignorant. What is male adaptive? Is that what you're saying? Male adaptive?
Not like the male adapted people. Like not male, female, but like male adapted.
Oh.
Male dash adapted. Okay, so
call me ignorant.
Stop big ignoramus. Oh, goodness.
I mean, your kids are literally stuck in a they are stuck in a building for 7 hours a day. Ugh. For how many years? You have kindergarten. Well, you're probably doing 3 pre, 4 pre, kindergarten. That's how many years is that? 13, 15 years?
Oh, yeah. And then you go to a public institution for college.
Yeah.
I mean, if they haven't already shaped the studies are through the roof of how many hours you spend at home if you're in school versus how many hours you spend with someone else.
You're literally in a hive, so you can't not be hive-minded.
Right. Yes, that's crazy. In the long run, this commenter who posed the question in the beginning had a slight edit to her post.
What did her edit say?
Let's see here. LOL. I didn't think I'd ever done a 180 as fast as this. It's clear that my experience of homeschooling is informed partly by the quality of public education I received and the diversity of both public and alternative schools catering to kids with specific needs, abilities, interests, or challenges. The issue that seems to be coming up most is the inflexibility of many conventional school systems to address particular needs. This makes sense, particularly in environments where there aren't a lot of choices for different schools and where the resources at those schools are highly limited. So she
came to her senses.
She did an about face from these 542 commenters. But it is interesting because
to me that it was originally started as her thing was, I'm extremely suspicious. That's how I take it. It's a little bit in your face.
Yes.
You got to get ready for the claws.
Yes.
Of anyone who opts to homeschool their kids and really don't think there are any legitimate reasons to do so.
Right. And I'm just glad people spoke up.
Yeah.
Really. And I'm glad that she listened and said, okay, it's not the best environment for everybody. Public education works for some. And that's why it's there. And that's why it's so heavily tax supported. But it also could use a revamping.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And the fact that her public education she received and influenced her view on homeschooling.
Did she receive a private? I thought she said private education, no?
Well, in this, she says, it's clear that my experience of homeschooling is informed partly by the quality of public education I receive.
Oh, okay.
But maybe up above, she did say she was.
But there's even private schools don't like homeschoolers either. So it's probably came from both angles.
Well, private schools look at us as competition.
Yeah.
Because we've figured out how to educate our children using much of the same material.
But I could argue that public school also sees us as a competition also.
Oh, sure.
Is it the right word?
I think so. And I think that's why there's so much legislation push.
Because we're proving that you don't need public education.
Right.
Proof is in the pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Results are in.
Yep.
You don't need the public school system.
You don't. It's easier. It's easier just to say, here's my kid, teach him. I'm not equipped. But it is for those that are willing to take the stand, take the bull by the horns or whatever you want to say.
If you want to send your kid to public school, I'm not saying don't do it. Maybe I do say that in my head, but I'm not going to say it out loud.
There's a reason why almost every election cycle there's a millage.
Mm-hmm.
Because they think if they just push more money at the problems in the public school, that will solve them.
Right.
And more people are saying, no, that's not the way to fix it. We have to go back to fundamentals and looking at why this is becoming a failure and what could we do? I don't know. But it's good to see that she was able to change her view.
Yeah, I like that.
And whether she ever homeschools or not, maybe she will.
Yeah, we can't ask because the comments were turned off.
Yeah, right.
Can someone reach out to her, please?
Well, someone please ask her if she'd ever consider it now. But obviously, it's a better choice for some families, and other families, they're thriving the way they are doing it. So I just want the choice. It's all about choice.
Yeah.
So anything else?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Well, join us next time. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.